a major part of that has to be bringing our stakeholders with us, which really pushes back to a significant rise in public awareness of what these issues are that we have to deal with.
And my final question regards, and it again lines to the takutaumuana, and it's regarding to those Māori landowners that actually do own coastal areas. How is that engagement going to occur? I mean, I know we're going to talk to mana whenua, that's fine, but there's another class of Māori group as well, that's Māori landowners. How are we going to engage with them? Who actually will be affected?
Through the chair, this is where we come into the two elements of coastal compartment management plans, which will work with all the stakeholders of specific areas. So if you take Orewa for example, the consultation process that's going on at the moment engages all of the local landowners. So we've got the two things of people who are specifically going to be affected for any coastal compartment and that raising general awareness.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Cashmore, you got a question?
Yes, just a quick one, Mr. Chair. So we've seen engineered solutions in the past and they've generally failed to one extent to the other, even in the UK where they've massive seawalls, but even those are failing now. So how do we know that our engineered solutions now that we're going to propose are going to be any better?
Through the chair, yeah, I made quite a good living in the UK fixing other people's seawalls.
I imagine.
Part of what we're doing is to raise awareness, amongst other things, that much of the stuff that we do at the coast has a finite life. If you take erosion as the example, the causes of erosion are offshore. So if you're trying to fix erosion onshore, you're fixing the effect, not the problem, which means that you're facing a finite life. It's a longer finite rather than a shorter finite if we can design it right. But part of the reason that we need to think short term and long term, which is enshrined in the principles that we workshopped, is that there can be a difference between short term and long term.
Thank you. Right, we'll come to the motions. Councillor Cooper, you've moved it. Councillor Webster seconded it. Do you want to speak to the motion?
I do. Thank you. And thank you for this. There's just a couple of comments I'd like to make. We need to be nimble because things are happening now. And as Paul will know, we've had issues at Snells Beach and Algies Bay that have to be really done quickly. We had an issue with the marina at Sandspit where the locals knew this was happening and the Sandspit is in real danger now. And the marina was dredging. Those dredgings got taken out and dumped at the other side of Great Barrier when the locals were saying, please, can we have some of this to shore up our spit? So that's a huge lost opportunity. The other issue that we've got is down here you've got continual information and knowledge. I was really pleased to hear what you had to say because I was really concerned that it was going to be a very bureaucratic issue where really the locals do know. They've lived there for a long time. When we had an easterly storm on a high tide at Snells Beach, it took the council many months to actually come up with a solution to fix that. And in the meantime, private property was in danger and we lost the walkway. So, you know, we have to be quick and we have to be nimble. At the moment, we're facing a weather pattern which this year, unlike last year, will bring more westerly winds. I mean, you know, I've farmed through this on the west. We will have more storms in the west than the east. Last year it was the east, which took out Snells Beach and took out Orewa. So these are the issues that we really have to be very quick. The other issue that we've got is our tree rules. Everyone wants to protect pahutakawas. The pahutakawas on cliffs actually need to be managed. If they become top heavy, They need to be thinned. If they become top heavy, there's a risk that they tip over and they take that with them. And I've seen that. We've got trees along where I live. There's a tree right next door to us where the engineers told these guys when they moved into the house to make sure they thinned it out. Let it grow, but thin it out. They've thinned it out. New people have come along, they haven't done that, and it's now thickening up. So we have got some real issues with the tree rules, that you're not allowed to do anything, with coastal erosion, and as you say, it's not just a case of low-lying, it's cliff edge as well. So Paul, you're all over this as far as I'm concerned. So I think we've got some real issues, but it's a case of being nimble, getting out there, talking to our communities, because they've lived there for a long time and they know.
Councillor Cooper?
Yeah, I just want to support the issue around trees. Around the Luckin Point in West Harbour, that had been planted with pines, and those huge pines are falling into the Henderson Creek and ripping the cliff away.
Absolutely.
But that's consistently, it's Esplanade Reserve, and I think we need to really look at those issues. If they're native, it's a different story, but massive pines just ripping away hunks of cliff and also becoming a hazard in the creek where yachts are actually being brought from yacht makers down the creek, and a lot of boat use as well, but it's also really undermining those cliffs. I mean, we say they hold them together. They might hold them together while they're there, but as soon as they start tipping over, the whole lot goes. Yep. So I think that's an issue as well. You probably got it all there.
Councillor Penrose, did you wish to
No,
speak?
sir. No.
Actually, Paul had something to say.
Paul had something to say.
Through the chair, thank you. I think those are really good points that have been raised, and that's part of our wider thinking. And I think Councillor Webster's raised some good points there about being nimble, and I like that word. It'll stick with me now. But the balance between our operational approaches and us accepting, with over 3,000 kilometres of coastline and a variety of issues running around addressing individual issues, trying to do that really well, but sitting down and through Sarah's guidance saying we need to be better with some of our strategic approach on a region basis. So we spend a lot of time living in that operational space because that's where the demand and the desire, most of it sits, but we're trying to change our thinking whilst not letting that go and saying when we're addressing or approaching individual issues, let's make sure that they're part of a consistent approach across the region, that they're applying consistent principles, that we're developing or modifying our coast in an appropriate way where required. So really good points.
Can I just, I mean, I agree with you, Paul, but we do need some principles. But as we've seen even on Orewa Beach, one thing isn't going to fix it. It's going to need several different things. So if you take that around the coastline, you know, particularly around, I mean, the Kaipara is not going to be the same as the East Coast beaches in the north. So,
correct, and through the chair, again, endorsing those comments, as well as being nimble, we're being innovative. So even when we're looking at individual beaches, Orewa included, the comments from the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment were around Auckland Council doing a great job applying strategic thinking at a beach level, and even at a beach level now, our thinking is changing somewhat, that a beach system doesn't necessarily have a one-size-fits-all approach, that we need to, even within those beach systems, look at different responses for different parts in consultation with the community. So.
Thank you. Councillor Penrose?
Because, as you know, Paul and Sarah, we've had discussions, robust discussions out the south in particular, around erosion and how we've dealt with it. And I just want to say that, put on the table that, you know, we've got to work closely, as Councillor Webster said, with our communities, because, you know, there's communities there, investors, people with, you know, whether it's developers or whatever, that are prepared to throw some money into it and mitigate falling back on the ratepayers. But we lose a lot of opportunities, as we know, and where we can work closer with them. So moving forward, I think